The perfect fitness routine doesn't even exist. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about being strong, fit, healthy, mobile. You got everything. Oh, and it works with your schedule. We're going to talk about that today. How can you have the perfect fitness routine? I'll start with the first component that I think needs to be considered. This one's an easy one, which is strength, right? Strength is the foundational fitness pursuit or the foundational attribute. In other words, strength contributes to everything else, contributes to mobility, it contributes to endurance, stamina, and pursuing strength on a basis that you would compare time versus reward. It's a good place to start. We talk about this often on the podcast. But the question is, with the perfect fitness routine that you're trying to create that's balanced, that fits most people's schedules, like how much strength training do you actually need? Turns out about 1 or 2 days a week would be enough for most people.
I think you're going to get pushback,
of course,
because of that, for sure. But I find that it's interesting because you're also kind of going through this right now too with the scaling back of your routine. Is this prompted because of that, or is this more because of the viral morning routine thing that's going around right now that everybody is redoing?
No, honestly, now again, let me paint some context, right? We're talking about an overall fitness routine. So one that gives you kind of like, because when you look at all the fitness attributes, there's some checks and balances there. In other words, if you go too far in one direction, you'll take away from another. So this is not the perfect bodybuilding routine.
No.
The perfect powerlifting routine. It's also not going to be the perfect marathon running routine or the perfect, it's a balanced routine. So with strength, when you're looking at balance, because you still have to make time, and we'll get to that, for other attributes or training for other attributes, how much strength training do you need to give you good balanced strength in combination with other stuff? One or 2 days a week. That's really what it is. And by the way, that's based off of data and also based off of our experience. We trained clients that wanted balance. How many days a week did they strength train with you guys when they were doing other things?
Yeah.
Right? About 1 or 2 days a week.
2, max, really.
At the most, right? And we're looking at about this is a full body routine. You're focusing on, kind of gross motor movements. Yeah. You're making sure you're not compromising any movement patterns. In other words, it's not all like sagittal plane stuff, or it's not, you're getting some rotation, you're getting some lateral movement, but it's strength training 1 or 2 days a week.
Dedicated strength. I mean, the rest of the time is like you're very active still. So it's not like it's a sedentary the rest of the week and you're kind of hanging out.
No, we got more to add.
It promotes to that, yeah.
I mean, I wish it was communicated more though, because I think I'm guilty of this as a trainer, thinking that you minimum 3 to 5 days a week is what minimum you needed, right? And I remember always thinking when clients would tell me they only had a couple days or whatever, I'm like, oh, we're never going to see results.
Yeah.
Like we got to be training way more than that. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people from it. I think a lot of people think in order to look a certain way and be so fit and muscular, you have to be training in the gym 5-7 days a week to look like that. And it's not true at all. I think honestly, we overcomplicate that part of it. I think good full body routine, you're doing those big compound lifts, not neglecting things like rotational, unilateral, stuff like that, different planes. And you can build a very functional, strong, good-looking physique with 2 days a week of training.
And by the way, one of the way that I learned this lesson with strength training in particular, because we're going to get to stamina, flexibility, functionality. We're going to get to that, okay? So we're not just talking just strength here. Remember, this is the perfect balanced fitness routine. But one of the ways I learned this lesson was when I had clients who were also active and actively pursuing other fitness endeavors. In other words, I'm training for a marathon and they're doing it properly, or I'm a triathlete, or I play tennis and tennis is a big deal for me and I play that 2 or 3 days a week or whatever. I learned this lesson because they'd come hire me and I'd train them 3 days a week and they'd have all these symptoms of overtraining. I was like, and I learned this personally too when I did jujitsu. I tried to lift weights 3 or 4 days a week while doing jujitsu 3 days a week. And it was a hard lesson to learn that it's just, you can't do all of it all the time. And so what I would do with these clients and eventually with myself is I'd scale back on the strength training and then I get the benefits of the strength training. So with these clients that were training for a marathon or who like to cycle a lot or play tennis a lot, 1 day a week of strength training gave them the benefits of strength training that we're looking for, which was strength and muscle. And it was usually 1 day a week, sometimes 2, but usually about 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Next up is just general movement, which is good for you. So we're talking about health as well. The data is very clear on this. Moving every day is important, but you don't have to work out every day. So what does this look like? It looks like steps. This is a great way to track movement. Now there's lots of different ways to move. You dance, you can do all kinds of weird things, but I think steps is the easiest way to track this. And what the studies show is about 8,000 steps, sometimes 10,000 steps a day will give you pretty much all the benefits you're going to get from being active every day. So, and it's not a ton, but you do need to consciously take walks throughout the day in order to make this happen.
I don't know at what point in your guys' career where this became something you communicated a lot or at all. I remember the first half, we've talked many times about scoffing at people that walked, and I didn't pay any attention to steps or walking. In fact, I used to think when the articles that come out about the average person needs to step this much and they'd be this healthy, I'd be like, oh,
eye roll.
Yeah, it was an eye roll thing for me. Where now it's, I'd say the next 10 years after my first 10, it became one of the main things that I focused on. And I remember a lot of it came from my own experience when we first got those body bugs and really started looking at the metabolism and movement throughout the day and everything. And I was just so fascinated in the fluctuation of my own personal habits. Mm-hmm. And I considered myself a very active trainer. I was a trainer. I'm training 8-10 clients a day. I'm on my feet, like work 6 days a week. But the discrepancies on some days. And I thought, man, all you got to do is you string 2 or 3 of these days together and you're burning 500 less plus calories in a day, or have a day like this and you're burning way more. And so I started going like, man, how many of my clients are just like that, where they have days, these extreme days, and when they think they're doing really good, well, that was also a day when they only stepped 2,000 steps. And so that would have been good. Their activity, their diet would have been good had they stepped 10,000 steps. But since that just happened to be on a day when they only 2,000 steps, well, unfortunately, what we thought was a calorie deficit was no longer a deficit. And so managing and speaking to step goals became a major focus on the back half, and had tremendous amount of success by focusing on that.
This was a huge one.
Yeah, it was crazy to see that, especially from that data, to see how sedentary everybody was, even myself included in that. And I worked out and I got my hour of workout in that was like impactful. But, to see that discrepancy there, it was really enlightening. And really for me, like, the movement piece, I started looking at the body as more of like mechanically. It's like if you have all these different systems of the body, you're not expressing. And I was always like tripping out. I'm like, why do I feel so bad today? And I realized how much I've been sitting. It didn't even matter that I had my workout. I'm sitting too much. I'm not like moving. I'm not expressing all these other systems of the body. And I'm just focused on, recovering my muscles.
Totally. What a great, so, I mean, just personally, like we do a lot of sitting, right? We record this podcast. We're in the studio a lot. We break up the day with literally the weakest walk you've ever seen in your life. Like we'll go, it's like 3 blocks.
It's embarrassing.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, like, truthfully, you know why we do it? We do it because it makes us better at this job. If we don't do that, we start to suck.
Way better cognition.
Like, and it's nothing. Everything. It's literally like, how long does that walk take us? 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15
Not
minutes.
even. Makes a huge difference on our
mood
minds.
elevator. Yeah.
But back to the body bug, we all had the same realization because it came out. God, when did the body bug? 15 years ago, maybe, or less, maybe 15.
No, at least 15.
So same thing for me. I'd have clients would wear it, and the first clients that put this on. So people don't know what this is. It's like it would measure metabolic rate.
It's like the original. It's like the original Fitbit.
Yes, and so it would measure one thing it would show is your movement, how much you're moving. And the clients that initially got it that I had were my most consistent fit clients, because they're the ones most likely to want to look at this, right? They're the ones that, when it first came out, I presented to my clients, and it was the ones that were really into fitness that were like, I want to try that, right? Oh. So I had all this, I had a self-selection bias of fit, conscious, healthy clients. Of all my clients, these were the most fit, right? Yeah. And I remember they would come in, and back then you used to have to download it to your computer. So I'd download it to my laptop. Yep. And I'd look at it, and here's John coming in, who's, this guy works out 5 or 6 days a week. So he's with me 2 days a week. The other 3-4 days a week, he's doing something that's a workout. Okay. So every day he's working out almost, except for maybe 1 day a week. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what did you do on Sunday? Yeah. And I'm like, look at all this activity. It's like, yard work. And I was washing the car, and then I went to the park. I'm like, that you didn't work out on that day? you crushed all the other days of workouts because you were just active all day long. And then I had a woman come in and I'm looking at hers. I'm like, what did you do Saturday? She said, oh, I was at the mall and I was meeting up with some friends and we went for a walk over here. And I was like, oh my God, like it's because you guys have desk jobs. So you work out for an hour and a half, but then you sit all day long.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, all you did was hang out with your friends, go to the mall, go to the park, or you wash your car, or whatever. And it crushed the other days. This is when I made a conscious effort to track people's steps. And what it looked like was 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And it was just, all it did was it made my clients conscious of getting up and walking, usually 2 or 3 times a day.
Just the awareness. The awareness around it was huge. I remember that's what connected the dots for me too. It was just crazy to see how little that we were actually moving. I remember before that reading this article, and this is like when it all came to full circle for me, that said that if you worked out an hour a day, with the average American that worked out an hour every single day was still considered sedentary. And I remember reading that going like, wait a second, you train every day for an hour and you're considered sedentary? Like, and I remember we used to have those sheets that we'd fill out for clients and they would tell you how active they thought they were, where they were, and anybody
Very
who
active.
anybody who trained, worked out every single day or 5 days a week would say very active. And based off of the article is just like, no, the average American, even if they train an hour a day, is considered sedentary. And then of course the body bug came and all that stuff. And then it all like came full circle for me. It was like, oh my God, we are. And we are I hate to say overvalued because workouts are extremely valuable.
They're protective. Workouts are protective.
Right. They are valuable. So I don't want to say overvalued, but we definitely did we overestimated how much it was playing in the whole calorie burn and movement thing because these people really thought they were really active, but then they would go at a desk job and they'd sit all day long.
The only clients I had that measured as very active were mail carriers and blue collar workers. Nobody else.
Soccer refs. I trained some referees.
50,000
Oh,
steps.
bro. I was like, what are you doing? It's like, I ref like 4 games this weekend.
Instructors,
Today's giveaway on this channel is MAPS Anabolic Advanced. If you want to win that, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comments section. We also have a sale this month on some programs. MAPS HIT is 50% off, and the Extreme Fitness Bundle, also 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code April50 for the discount. All right, back to the show. So with this perfect fitness routine, you have strength training 1 to 2 days a week, and then every day, just make sure you get to 8 to 10,000 steps. All right, so another component of a balanced fitness routine includes stamina, right? Strength training is not stamina training. You'll get some stamina from getting stronger, but it's not stamina training. Walking every day, not really going to build stamina unless you never walk.
On the cardiovascular system.
Yeah, how can we strengthen stamina? Well, for the average person, it would be sufficient to run about a half a mile to a mile 1 to 2 days a week. That's it. That's enough to see sufficient gains in stamina over a decent period of time. And the reason why this is so good is twofold. One, running is a skill we've all lost.
Maintain the skill.
I want to be very careful here. If you haven't run in a long time, treat this like a skill. So if you listen to this episode, you're like, cool, I'm gonna go run a half a mile. Don't run a half a mile. Get good at running for half a mile and slowly get better at it. Look at your biomechanics, how my feet are hitting the ground. How do I feel? Don't run so hard that your biomechanics go out the window. Otherwise, you're going to hurt yourself. So get better at it. But then as you get better, as your stamina builds, the half a mile stay the same. You just get faster. And so this is why it's such a good way to train stamina. And stamina is important. It's an important thing to train. You can be very strong without good stamina. You can move great without good stamina. You need stamina also for other aspects of health. And running, again, this is a skill that we've lost. So practice the skill of running, because if you don't run, you don't know how to run. It's just the fact. People just don't know how to run.
So if I was communicating this to a client, the obvious first question that they would ask me is, when do I do this? Is it better for me to do it on my workout days? Is it better for me to do it on my off days? Now, I think the perfect world, it's done on separate days. That doesn't mean that it still doesn't have value doing it on the same day of your training. Right. Like if I had, it was an either or, I definitely would like the option to have you do it on another day. I think it'd be smarter strategically. but still tremendous value if this is how you started your workout or this is how you ended your workout was to
exactly splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the stamina component. All right, flexibility. Flexibility is a component of mobility. Having some flexibility is good for actually getting your body into a parasympathetic state. Static stretching is great for this. And the best time to do this is before bed because it does induce a parasympathetic state and it will help your sleep. And it's literally before bed for 10 minutes, pick a couple static stretches in areas that you tend to feel tight and just do 10 minutes of it with deep breathing. And that is enough in combination with good strength training to give you the kind of
you're really just trying to balance that, right?
That's right.
That sympathetic response that you're sending when you're strength training, and you want to get that kind of tightness in that response, but now we have to also complement and counter that, and so that way you can maintain these positions in the joint, and you can have good traction and make sure that you keep that health of the joint intact.
Yeah.
I mean, paired with a whole food diet, this puts somebody in
healthy as hell.
Extremely healthy.
Yeah.
If you are checking these boxes right here and you are eating a predominantly whole food diet,
dude, you're like 90%
killing
over
it.
there.
You're killing
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, absolutely killing it.
And the last part, and I include functional. I know that's an overused term. What I mean by that is that you
put the fun in functional.
Yeah, that you can move, that your body expresses itself well. Now, I could tell you to do a functional workout, and would be great, right? But that tends to be a little bit complex for people. They need programming, et cetera, et cetera. You want to know the truth with remaining functional? Play. Go outside and play. Like, if you play with your kids and you do this regularly, for example,
throw things.
Yeah, throwing frisbees, running, climbing, like it's pretty well balanced, and do that often.
If we're building like the perfect ideal fitness routine, which the desired outcome is healthy, right? Overall health. Like this is the ultimate. And you're trying to come up with this functional thing. I'd actually probably toggle between calling it this functional day / connecting with people day. Like that's kind of like
what a great way to put it. Yeah.
Like this is just get out there with people. Like whether you play in a fun pickup game or you go for a hike with somebody, like go be social, go be with a friend, go be with people, do something where you're moving. Like that right there would cover that for me. And then you're also checking another box with community and relationships, which if we're building the ultimate fitness routine for health, well, we already know what the research says about relationships and health. That's a very, very important piece of it. And so, you build it in there. You make sure that you make an effort on your functional day to get out there with other people and do something. Don't overcomplicate the activity, more so about the company. Be with people that you love and you like being with, like that right there.
Shoot hoops and wiffle ball, dude.
Yeah, see? Yeah. By the way, like, as a dad, I'll tell you, I have like 2 little kids. As your kids get older too, it looks more like sports and stuff, but when they're little, like they keep you functional, man. You get on the floor and you play with a 2-year-old,
climbing, wrestling, all that counts, man.
Oh yeah, dude. We went to the park, over the weekend, and they want me to get up on the play structure with them. And my 2-year-old wants to jump off everything, so I got to be up there with her to keep her safe. And as I'm doing it, I'm like
doing pull-ups on the monkey bars, flexing on everybody.
Trying to show all the dads who the strong dad is.
For sure.
But yeah, you play outside, play often. And I like saying it that way because play is unscripted and it tends to use the entire body. So you don't need a workout routine necessarily, for that. So
speaking of the kids, you were at the park with yours this weekend. You were out mining for gold.
Yeah,
is that what you were
panning for gold?
Real gold?
Yeah, panning, not mining. Sorry.
Yeah. We got this.
Looks like you found some too. Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I don't know. It looked
gold.
like it. Who knows? There was one of them that was like very yellow, and so like Everett actually found that, and he was like super pumped, and so I was like, I don't even want to test it. I'm like, yeah, we got it. Like I'm going with it, because he loved it. It was,
where was this?
Such an adventure. We just, we'd been talking about it for a long time and had researched and saw that like, even in our area, somebody had found like, this crazy, like expensive raw gold nugget. And we were just like, wow, that's possible, and then it just started kind of ruminating and we got this like little kit off Amazon, and I was like, well, let's make a day of it, because Courtney and Ethan were down in Southern California for his gymnastic tournament, and we were just kind of like had a day to ourselves. So we just like went to some obscure place that was from the first house that we had. There was like this creek that was like way out there on its own, and we just like trucked it for like 2 hours in freezing water, and we're just like panning, and it's sounds really boring, but it was like super fun. We were just like,
that's awesome.
It's like treasure hunting.
Yes, treasure hunting is literally like I found little specks, and you get all excited finding the tiniest little thing because it was shiny, and
that's so
it.
awesome.
Are you guys familiar with Forrest Fenn?
No.
Do you guys know who that is?
No.
So have Doug Google him. Look up Forrest Fenn. So it's Chasing the Thrill. Is that what I wrote down? I forget that Chasing the Thrill, I think, is the name of his book. Okay, so check this out. I remember this because it was like this was over like a 10 or a 12-year span. I do remember seeing this guy on the news, and now that I know the full story, it's like super interesting. So this dude takes a couple $1 million in rubies and gold nuggets and flakes and coins and everything like that, and in the Rocky Mountains buries a treasure and tells the world that I left $2 million. Forrest Fenn right here. Okay. I left $2 million in gold and rubies and coins and everything like this in a buried treasure. And
Is this a Netflix series?
Yes. This. Oh yeah. That tells the whole story of Netflix. But this happened a while back. It happened back in, maybe Doug can look up the dates when it was. I want to say it was in the 90s or 2000s. It went into the 2000s. I know that. But so listen to this. This gets better. Like, this was such a cool story. So does that. He writes a poem. And in the poem is the hints to where the treasure is. Okay, another layer that's so brilliant. I'm like, this is brilliant. Why haven't more people done this? Yeah. He wrote a book. This was how he announced like his book.
So he sold the book.
Oh, bro, he sold so many books.
Wow, what a smart way.
What a brilliant way to sell a
treasure map in the book.
So everybody bought his book. Everybody watched all his interviews. When was the dates, Doug?
So 2010, it looks like he buried the treasure.
Oh, someone found it.
2020.
10 years, people were hunting this thing. Bro, it got so crazy and ridiculous. People died trying to find us with that. And it was so vague. The Rocky Mountains go through like what, 5 states?
They weren't even like wearing the right attire and everything, right?
They were going up into like, I mean, it was the Rocky Mountains. So there's like, I think Rocky Mountains go through 5 different states at least, right? And he didn't tell you what state it is. He just basically says north of Santa Fe in the Rocky Mountains, and then it has like all these clues. Wow. And bro, the amount of people that were searching for this thing for a decade, and somebody eventually found it.
Wow.
But what I thought was so brilliant was attaching it to a book like that, and the amount
really smart.
Think about how many copies of books you would sell.
Oh yeah.
Well, the treasure chest was auctioned for $1.3 million.
Yeah.
So it was legit.
Oh yeah, no, it was legit. It was legit gold pieces and all kinds of stuff that were in it. But you know what's interesting was the people. I mean, not interesting, of course. Like it, you have to love this. There's like a community of like treasure hunter. Like I didn't realize how big of a community that was. Like there's like a serious community of people that like this is their jam. This is what they do, and the amount of effort put into finding this treasure was just fun. Wild.
We've been watching a lot of. I think what sparked it too is we've been watching like Blind Frog Ranch and some of these other like gold, hunting shows and stuff. And dude, it was such a bummer because at the very end, like our feet are freezing and like it was like we couldn't even feel it. I'm like, we should probably go. Like this is like I can't even feel anything. Like it's probably not good. And I'm like putting his shoes on and like trying not to get sand and everything in there. And then he spots like this. It looked like quartz with like gold on it, like literally like right underneath in this deep part of the creek. And we're like, oh my God, look at that. I thought that was something. So I go down. I was all done. I get back into the water. I'm like, reaching my hand all the way down. I'm pulling it up. It was a freaking Modelo can. I was so pissed, dude.
The
wrapper, it had the gold rim and everything, dude.
For-
I was like, oh my God, wouldn't that be ironic? The very end of the day, you find like Modelo. Some awesome, just a freaking beer can, dude. Asshole.
Hey, speaking of cold, I got a study came out on cold therapy. I want to talk to you guys about, we've talked about this before, how annoying it is when people take something of value and just always apply it.
Bastardize it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So study reveals, this is the post, Study reveals that cold plunges reduce muscle growth by up to 66%. So it says researchers found that using cold plunges after lifting can actually blunt muscle growth and strength gains. In a 12-week strength training study, those who did cold water immersion after each session gained significantly less muscle mass and strength than those who used active recovery. Despite training identically, cold plungers saw 66% smaller increases in muscle growth.
So now the bodybuilder bros are gonna be like, see,
Yeah, you know what's stupid about this?
That's not the reason why they should have been doing that. It's just like the fasting thing.
Yes,
It's like,
and also, is there value to cold therapy post-workout? Yes. You know what the value is? To allow you to train again and push the limit.
Yeah.
There are athletes that are out there, a lot of them, who are constantly redlining.
Yep.
And the thing that keeps them from breaking muscle down all the time and being in an overtrained state would be cold therapy.
well, that's also, Sal, that's another, you're pointing out an obvious flaw in the study too, because again, this is the problem with studies is it's a complete controlled environment. So it's like,
Same.
you have to do same. But in reality, the person who was cold plunging probably has more energy to get after the next workout because they cold
Less
plunge.
inflammation, all that.
So they're more likely to push harder and more intensity and do more. But if you're in a study and you're like, no, you gotta do the exact same thing, and we're just trying to see the outcome of, okay, well, yeah, that's gonna happen. But what if you allowed them just to do their thing? And what happens when the person who's cold plunging actually does more volume or does more work the next workout because of that? Then what happens? Is it enough to cancel it? Is it enough to close that gap? Is it enough to potentially surpass it? Like,
here's a study that I would write. 2 groups of people who can train more. The group who doesn't cold therapy post-workout, or the one that does. The one who uses cold therapy. Now the question would be, well, why would you want to train more? Because when you're an athlete, practicing your skill is the most important thing. The limiting factor is recovery.
Yeah.
So if you're training basketball athletes, you're training football players, you're training tennis, you're
honing
training
in on the skill is everything.
Yeah, it's like the more I can get you to practice, the better. But I got to always compromise how much time you spend because you can't recover from it. Will cold therapy allow you to train more often? Yes. Will that make you a better athlete? Yes. Yes, it will. So it's the way that they word it, and so people will see this and be like, "Oh, there's no value." No, there's tons of value in cold therapy. You just have to know how to apply the tool. That's all. Yeah. And by the way, for people who are like, "Well, I want to do both," don't do it after your workout. Then,
right.
Do it at the beginning.
I've always said before.
Pre-workout.
I remember the first time Brink had me do the cryo. He's like, you got to come down and do it before your workout. I was like, forever sold. Like, dude, I'll never do this afterwards. This is way better before.
Even if you just dunk your head in it, it's like amazing.
Right.
It is.
Right.
I love that. Anyway, I was laughing with my wife over the weekend because I told her when we interviewed Ben Bruno. By the way, he's great. Well, I love that guy. He's
hilarious.
Funny.
He's got a really
great sense of humor.
Yes, he has like that kind of like dry delivery, but really funny.
Yeah. Love him. And we always connect with people who are actual trainers because we have so much in common. But the one point of the episode that made me laugh, and I was telling Jessica this, is, he gets while we're recording, he looks at me and he goes, "Wait a minute."
Like, hold on.
He points at me and he goes,
"I recognize you.
You sold me face oil." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I saw an ad with you talking about Caldera Lab, and my wife was talking about my skin, and I ended up buying some." And I was like,
that was like how we opened. You guys were sitting right across from each other, and I remember like you could see it on his face when it had clicked. Yeah. We were just starting the interview.
Because he saw me with the mic talking. Probably.
And then he's looking directly at you, and then totally off cuff. He was just, "Oh my God, you're the face guy."
Yeah. Which, 2 things. One, I'm glad. Hey, apparently I'm good at selling. But 2,
another dude to get a beauty product.
I get recognized sometimes from their ads more than I do from my show, which is hilarious.
That's too funny, man.
Are you guys using their hair thing, the hair follicle thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like it.
Yeah. My wife uses it.
That's a stupid question to ask.
My wife uses it.
Yeah, what am I supposed to say? It's effervescent.
No, it's a stupid question to ask him.
Yeah, it's stupid question to ask me.
Yeah,
it's insulting.
Why didn't they come out with that before, like 5 years ago?
Yeah, where's the...
I mean, you guys see the commercial that Danny did with Justin was really good.
Oh,
yeah,
so funny.
this is now...
that was all
This
Danny,
is 3
dude.
in a row she's done. And I'm telling you, all 3 while they were shooting, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, this is stupid.
As I was doing
this is my commitment to you, Danny. I will never question your ideas because I think she's done some of the best work.
good.
Yeah, some of the best work I've ever seen out of here. And every time I think like, no, that doesn't sound like that's going to be very good. But it was so good.
I know.
Hello. Look at your hair. Now look back at me. Now look back at your hair. Now look back at me. You're not me, but you can have hair like me. Now look at him. Now back at me. I use the hair care system by Caldera Lab.
Now in the shower, because I believe in conditioning. Code MindPump20 for 20% off. Now watch this.
Yeah.
I know, but my wife's been using it. She really likes it. Not
really?
that she's losing her hair, but she has really straight, thin hair, right?
I didn't even think to bring it home for Katrina. She'd probably appreciate
so she's
that.
always like, she wants her hair to look thicker or whatever. I think her hair looks great. But she's like, so she's been using it. She likes it. So
Yeah.
that's another product of theirs that she stole from Sal. She just took my face oil, she took the face cream, and
Yeah.
she told her
I-
taking their hair serum.
I don't know if like Vicky meant it, but like got me a little self-conscious because like she was like trimming here, and I have like a natural widow's peak, and she's like, it might be a little less here.
Oh.
And then I was like, what? And I asked Court, she's like, no. That's like, your
Bro,
hair's
your
always
hair's-
been
you
like
gotta-
that. And I'm like,
You got a thick ass hair.
Yeah, you got good
so
hair,
now I'm
bro.
like, okay,
we were
I want to do all the things.
Speaking of hair, like we were watching, there's that series we were all talking about David on Amazon, the story of David.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, the son of Saul, he's got such this crazy thick head of hair. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, my hair used to look like, I used to have so much hair.
I did too, bro.
That when I'd wake up in the morning, while I was walking, I'd feel it move like this. Like I used to feel it, bro. I had so much when I was younger. Dude.
My whole life, all the way even through high school, every hairstylist I ever had always commented on how thick and full my hair was.
Yeah.
For sure, they were all.
Did you hate it as a kid?
Yeah, you know,
it was
what I'm
hard to
saying?
style?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pain. It was all nappy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had like a little fro in the morning. I hated it, but that's what I get, right? So I mean, I miss it now.
Yeah. You wish you had it.
I'd take that nappy head of hair back in a heartbeat today.
Yeah. Hey, earlier we were talking about strength training, and I forgot to tell you guys a study came out on this is how effective strength training is at building strength. I'm going to read you guys a study. This is a great study. This is just how effective it is, right? They took a bunch of older people. Let me look at the age group. I'll read it to you. Okay. They took older adults, so over the age of, I think it's over the age of 55. Sorry, Doug.
Yeah.
That's what they consider older. And they had them do, this is how much strength training they had them do. You ready?
Yeah.
One exercise once per week.
One exercise once per week?
One exercise once per week.
Wow.
3 sets of 5 reps of the leg press. That's it.
That's it?
This is
All
a
they-
leg press?
All they did is show up and do 3
Not
sets of
even
5
a banger
reps.
exercise.
Okay?
Wow.
Over 6 weeks. Over a 6-week period, they all gained, on average, 33% increase in strength.
Wow.
In 6 weeks.
Wow.
One
That's surprising.
exercise
That's crazy.
once a
I,
week.
dude,
They
I don't
also,
know. I don't know if that highlights how great strength training is, or just how deconditioned we've become.
Yeah,
Correct.
like how
I mean, it's
sauce
obviously
we are.
it's a combination of both,
It is.
right? It's like we know strength training is incredible for you.
We're so
but it's
deconditioned.
also I think we're just going to see more and more stuff like this coming out. Pretty soon it's going to be like, just get one workout out
Yeah.
a year. You
Literally
get one
get
in a
out of
year.
bed,
Yeah, you get it
do
one a
one
year.
air squat,
You'll
and
add
you're good.
10 years to your life. You know, so just get a single workout.
open and close your hand twice.
Yeah.
And you're going to see strength gains. Yeah. Oh. No, so
look at
here's
those
what they also
biceps.
saw. Ready for this? Multiple functional capacity outcomes and reported benefits in quality of life measures. So in other words, when they did tests of quality of life measures.
okay.
And all of them saw an improvement in their quality of life by all measures.
What might be
Like
an example of that?
less
Like,
pain,
Okay.
more energy,
Okay.
like basically like improved quality of life
Sure.
from one exercise.
and a leg
once week.
press at that. So basic.
I know.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
This and I used to see this, you guys. I trained a significant portion of my client base towards the back half of my career were what you would label in the training world as advanced age. Okay, so over 55, but actually a lot of them were over 60. And I trained them all once a week, and I mean I trained them once a week for years, and they all were so much stronger and more fit than their peers from that one day a week. It was ridiculous. Like I had them come in deadlift, squat, overhead press. I had a 75-year-old woman who would deadlift 120 pounds, and 75 years old. And
Sick.
all her friends were in pain and dependent, on their.
I mean,
on their
this is
kids.
this highlight. We started this conversation off talking about Ben Bruno in our interview with him, and just why we connected with someone like that who's trained.
He gets it.
He gets it. And this, a lot of the conversation was around this type of stuff. It's like all this internet shit and all these trainers arguing about this and how great this next movement and exercise is. It's like, dude,
all these stipulations that are unrealistic.
Yeah, it's like,
come on.
get your fucking client to leg press once a week. Like impact him by 33% positively. It's like, come on, dude. Like, just
It's silly.
overthinking this, and we get into these debates over silly stuff. It's like, which again, this is why, I feel that we've really tried to make this case on the show for 10 years. It's just like adherence and the psychological part are the most behavioral part is the most important part.
Yeah.
Because like you could show an example of a basic
Behavior
leg press
change.
once a week could make that much of an impact on them. So it's like, if I can just get my clients bought in and excited or, enthusiastic about pursuing health, I've won half the battle.
Most of the battle.
Yeah.
It's okay. So if you're a fitness fanatic and you're listening, or you're like a new trainer, this is why you're annoying. I'll tell you why. Because you hear this conversation and you're like, ugh, that's not enough.
Weak.
You're not going to get people. Here's the deal. It's a very alluring, attractive message that we're giving. That's also true. And it does a better job at getting the average person to exercise for the rest of their life.
That's right.
Because your fitness fanaticism is not working. Right. You're not going to get Mrs. Johnson, who is not a fitness fanatic, who doesn't have body dysmorphia like you or whatever. You're not going to get her to want to work out for the rest of her life by telling her she needs to go ham 5 days a week. You're going to get her to work out every day by building a good relationship with exercise and by being honest and saying, you don't need much. Start here. And you know what happens, by the way, ironically, is a significant percentage of people that I've trained who were regular non-fitness fanatics who understood this and started with very minimal. You know what happens over the years? They had more and more.
That's
on
right.
their own.
Organically,
They
they
do
just
on their own.
ask for more. They do more.
Yes, totally.
And it's just funny because the same exact advice works like great for fitness fanatics.
Yeah, no.
They just you don't want to look at it for what it is. It's like you're probably doing too much. Like, and that's a hard thing to realize. Yeah, I know. How's that going?
Oh,
by
it's
the
going
way?
good, dude.
I did want to ask you.
Yeah,
about that.
we're on week 2 right now, right?
Yeah, I'm only lifting twice a week, and on the days in between, I'm just focusing on like stretching or mobility.
Are you changing those days up at all, or are they?
Right now, it's MAPS anabolic phase 1.
But I mean, like, what I mean by that is, like, is it always Monday that you
Monday
lift?
and then Thursday,
Or are you
right?
like
Monday and Thursday is what the schedule looks like, but I'm flexible if I need to be.
So the reason why I'm asking is because I would think that part of this exercise for you too is allowing a little.
Just calm down.
Yeah, that's where I'm.
don't need to give-
That's where I'm going at here, is because it's just like.
You don't need to give ammo to my wife. Come on, dude. What are you doing, bro?
I mean, she's on my side. You know what I'm saying? We're on the same team here. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to get you to do this stuff for a while. So that's
right
next
now
step.
It's Monday, Thursday.
Okay. So next
Those are the
step.
days.
That's right.
Don't change my days, bro.
Okay, I'm not trying to change your days.
Oh, one step
in.
at a time. It's so hard. But it's twice a week, and I'm getting stronger, of course.
Of course you are.
But I mean, I'm not like trying to focus on that.
No,
I'm
no.
really
Yeah, but what are you doing the days in between? That's what I'm interested
So
in.
last week I did, I would sit in the sauna for 30 minutes and do
Okay.
really, really concentrated.
cry.
Yeah.
I sit in the sauna.
You
Just
could be doing
cry.
bicep
Yeah.
curls
I should be doing bicep curls.
Just, I was hugging someone in there, some random old guy. Can you hold me for a second? I really wish I was working out.
Okay,
No,
so sauna.
No, I sit in the sauna and do deep static stretching for 30 minutes because I can get much deeper range of motion. This week I won't have that time because I this week my teenage daughter's with me, so I have to take her to school. So I'll come in here and I'll static stretch, foam roll, and maybe do like mobility kind of stuff. I'm just moving on all the other days. That's it.
Yeah.
But the only real structured days are Monday and Thursday.
So you have to promise to, as this unfolds and you obviously learn stuff about yourself, and I feel like you'll even pick up stuff about the routine and things like that, you have to share like what's.
For sure. My diet's different. I'm definitely not chasing protein as much, because that's another part of it. The other part of it is I have to let go of that a little bit. So I'm more flexible with my diet. I'm still eating healthy, but I'm not like, oh, got to get my 200, plus grams of protein. So if it falls to 150 or 120, then it's okay. And of course I feel better. But
Yeah.
Weird. Oh, God.
I know, dude. It's a real lesson in submitting.
Are you okay? So are you? Are there certain things that are like triggering for you that you find yourself you have to like either pray or meditate or like
Every day.
Every day. Every day.
Well,
every day. It's like you wake up. It's
Like
a struggle
the
right away.
methods
Like
to calm your mind. Like,
oh no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, like
the first week was rough. I
Yeah.
found myself depressed, anxious. Spent a lot of time in prayer. I think he had mercy on me recently and lifted some of that. But I'm still very active in my prayer, knowing that it could always go back. So just as much as possible, any opportunity I get, asking for help. So, but this so far the last maybe 4 days or so, I've been feeling a lot better. Like I'm letting go. Like I'm not even as critical of the reflection in the mirror. I'm finding that's even kind of letting its grip, loosening its grip. But that first week was, dude, I was depressed. I could tell I was depressed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Oh, yeah. I was like, bro, you let go of your drug.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you take away somebody's drug, and then they got to deal with that withdrawal.
Yeah.
And it's like, it felt like depression for
Yeah.
me, type of deal.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell you, the best solution for that depression was my wife's grace, prayer, and then my little ones. My little ones are so, they run to me, hug me, whatever.
Yeah.
And instantly it's like, all right.
I'm sure that helps, right? When you're in the thick of like, I should be working out, I'm not going to, then you go play with your kids or something. That's probably a really
dude.
nice transition to get your mind off of
100%.
what you're
100%.
used to be doing.
Anyway, I got another study that's a study, but it went viral.
Love those.
Water's wet.
It went viral because of how weird things are in the world. It's so weird. Okay, so they did a study, and German researchers gathered a large sample of healthy men and women and 60 elite female athletes. So they took everyday healthy people, men, women, and they also tested 60 elite female athletes, and they tested their strength.
From what sport?
So so what athletes? So they're any sport, just general.
anything.
Yeah.
They tested them for what though? What's
Strength.
I know, but what's the desired outcome of this?
Are men stronger than women?
Oh God.
I know, dude. It's like, why are we wasting? You know why we're wasting our time? Because people are debating this. It's so stupid. But anyway, here we go. Ready for the study? 90% of the women were weaker than 95% of the men. The strongest elite female athlete in their sample was at the 58th percentile for the average man. Yeah. Which, okay, she's stronger than a good, 42% of men, but there's still 58% of everyday guys that are stronger than her.
Yeah.
So that was, and it went viral because people are like, see, I told you, or whatever. Then they also did this in the study. When men and women were matched for the amount of muscle they have, in other words, is it just because guys are bigger? Let's go pound for pound, lean body mass. Men are still far stronger, which we also know this. It's not just about muscle. It's also central nervous system activation. It's all that stuff.
Yeah, muscle recruitment.
Yeah.
This is all stemming from the stupid argument that we're the same. We're different. We're so much better as a team than comparing to who does what. I'll never be able to have a child. Never. It's like you're way better than me.
She's got gifts that you don't have, and vice versa.
I remember the message of celebrate the differences. Yeah, right.
That's
like,
I hope we get back to that. I hope instead of pointing out
it's like
that we're trying to say that and lying to ourselves, we're trying to say we're the same. Why not celebrate how different we are and how well we complement each other and the beauty that lies within that? Because I think that's amazing. How, randomly here we are that we have these beautiful things that we're so different in, but together we make this incredible unity.
It's crazy to me because I think part of the problem, well, there's a lot of issues here, but part of the problem is that what the world has done is placed certain attributes on a pedestal as if they're that these attributes are important. And so strength and physical, athleticism and performance is like everybody celebrates that. As if that's everything. That's one thing. That's one thing. But if they did another study, which there's plenty of these studies, where they're judging emotional intelligence or the ability to read somebody's emotions just by looking at them, what you would see is a complete flip and reverse of what we just read. Is you would see women crush that. There's a study where they look at just eyes, and you got to guess what emotion they're emoting. Just by looking at their eyes, and guys are terrible.
It's so weird where this conversation started to stem from, because it's like for the longest time we've always valued women and children above men. That's why it's like you protect them at all costs.
Yeah.
They are more valuable. They are far more valuable.
You want to be disposable.
So where did we get into this? Like that we think men are? No, we don't. We've never thought that. Yeah. Like it's such a weird argument to get into.
It all started because there was an article that went out that was so dumb. I shared it. It was I don't remember what magazine it was in, but it was the authors said that the reason why men are bigger and stronger is because our government guidelines tell them to eat more. So if women just ate more, they'd be just as.
I know, dude.
And then it started this whole debate about getting rid of sex categories.
Yeah, it's all culturally influenced.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, dude, this is physiological.
They were like, let's get rid of those categories. Like men and women should compete against each other in sports.
Yeah.
What a great way to erase females from sports. It's just let us all compete together. So dumb. It's crazy.
Super crazy.
It's crazy to me.
Hopefully we move beyond.
Yeah, I think we will. Anyway, another study came out on creatine showing fat loss effects, which is what we've talked about.
Well,
before.
look at that.
I know.
Look at that.
I know. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? So the study showed that they, of course, built more muscle, but they also lost more body fat. Now they were taking a much higher dose. There are more studies showing the value of taking higher doses than 5 grams of creatine.
I'm going to start, because we have access to so much, I'm going to start sprinkling it in more stuff. I was thinking about putting it in my protein cookies the other day that I was cooking. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll sprinkle some creatine in here now.
Are you making those oatmeal?
I have to spread it all throughout the day.
If you take it all
I
once.
went too hard one day and just like took like 10 or 12 at once.
That's what I mean. I want to take my serving, then I want to like pixie dust it and like as I'm baking, because I'm thinking like creatine in some cookies, you won't even notice it's in there. If you just sprinkle some of that inside when you're mixing it up, like why not?
There was another study that showed that it took 20 grams of creatine a day to maximize the effect on the brain. So it's for cognitive effects.
That's it's a big motivator for me.
For you, yeah. Okay, so are you making are these the oatmeal protein cookies that you're talking about?
Yeah, I use Meal One. That's why I use the Meal.
Brought them
the creatures.
I do. I mean,
how many cookies does that? Do you know how many that makes? One of those little seconds.
Oh, that's a Katrina question, bro. Yeah, it's a Katrina question.
Because that's 30 grams of protein. In one packet.
I have them. I'll have to look in my my Fat Secret because I've created the recipe in there. I mean, it's not like crazy amount of protein, but I mean, I'm enjoying a sweet treat and I'm in like an oatmeal cookie and I'm using an oatmeal that has protein powder in it, so it's
30
going to boost
grams.
it. Yeah, so it boosts them. I think I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it's like 8 grams to 10 grams of protein a cookie or something like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a decent amount.
How much protein is in a normal cookie?
None.
0.
Yeah, none. That's why it's cool. It's like, and it's
that's a great thing for kids.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make that because then
Max loves them.
Yeah.
We've done like protein balls with Meal One. We've done the actual cookies with Meal One. I just like, you guys have talked about my sweet tooth forever, and so if I've got like a little treat like that in the refrigerator or Tupperware,
does it for you.
That's it. I just need to have. Otherwise, that's where I go wrong.
Do you guys use like honey to sweeten it, or do you use like stevia?
Yeah, I think she uses honey. I think it's honey. The recipe calls for honey, I believe. I'd have to look and see different ones, right?
And what flavor of Meal One are you typically using?
Vanilla and peanut butter are the two. I think she might even use chocolate sometimes too.
Oh, that's good.
But vanilla seems to be the best because then you can mix it with whatever. Yeah, exactly, with whatever you want. Oh. But we do like these peanut butter ball versions also, and I think she uses the peanut butter one for that. But
those are the ones you brought. That's what it was. It wasn't.
Is that what it was?
Peanut butter balls.
I know. I've brought. It's been a while since I've brought them here, but I've been making them forever. Katrina, it's pretty much a staple in our house to have something like that, either in the refrigerator, fridge, or on the counter, so that when I get my late night munchies, I go to that.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's a go-to.
Speaking of kids, my 4-year-old stayed for the first time ever because we homeschool him and stuff, and he's never been to daycare. But we're trying to get him to go to Sunday school while Jessica and I will attend the service. So typically what we do is...
you haven't broke him off yet. I know you guys...
No. So typically what we do is we'll bring him to Sunday service, but then he sometimes gets restless and it can be difficult. And so we sit in the very front. My wife is so... like she really makes an effort to make it all work. So we'll sit in the very front on the very, like, I think it's stage left. I think that's what you call it. And she'll set up like sticker books for him and stuff like that. So while we're watching the service, but he gets restless and stuff, and people know us as the family that brings the kid that does that, whatever. And so we have friends who bring their kids, and they have like a Sunday school there, and it's really great. And they're so good about it too. Like the kid will have a name tag, and you'll see the number come up if you need to get your kid, and everybody's really friendly. So we're like, let's give it a shot. Let's try it. So we tried last Sunday, and we brought my son in there. We prepped him. And he made it about 10 minutes, started crying. And, we went and picked him up, and it was okay. It was his first time trying.
Yeah.
So this Sunday was coming up. And so, a couple of days before, we're kind of prepping him. And Jessica's like, we're going to try it again. He's like, no, I'm not going. I don't want to do Sunday school. I'm going to sit in the service with you. We're like, no, I think it's a good idea, whatever. So we don't like to do the whole bribing thing. We really try and stay away from like, if you do this, you'll get this type of deal.
Yeah.
But I remembered a story of where that worked for me as a kid. When I was a kid, I remember I had to go to the doctor to get a shot. I don't remember what it was. And I remember I was afraid of shots. And there was this Spider-Man motorcycle thing I saw at the grocery store. I remember all of it.
Bro, I have a story. Yeah.
So it was literally a motorcycle with Spider-Man on it. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my mom said, hey, you know that Spider-Man motorcycle you want? I'm like, yeah. She goes, if you go get the shot and you don't cry, I'll get that for you. And I did, and she gave it to me. And I remember it because I remember after that I never cried again. I realized I can do this.
Yeah.
But I was motivated. So I talked to my wife and I'm like, I know we don't do, bribing or whatever. I said, but there's this huge dinosaur toy he liked at Target he saw. I'm like, can I tell him I'll get him a prize if he could go there and be brave? And so she's like, all right, let's give it a shot. So I did. I said, hey, I'll get you this big prize or whatever. And he's like, why can't I have it anyway? I'm like, it's only if you do this. It's a really hard thing. I get it. You got to be brave. It's really tough. That's why I want to give you this prize if you could do it. And so he finally agreed. He went and he had so much fun. And then afterwards we got him the big ass dinosaur thing or whatever. Yeah. But now he's like, he likes it. So it totally works.
I think there's a place for that. I think you can overdo it.
Totally.
I think you train a kid who thinks that he gets something for everything. And so I'm not a fan of that for everything. But I do. I think I shared with this. I look forward to the day with when he's actually like reading. I've already done it with his level of kind of somewhat reading, right, where he like kind of like does the little pen thing that reads the book for him. But I like when he wants something, I try, and especially if it's something I want to get him, like Lego, something like that, I try and always attach it to something that he's got to accomplish. He's got to, like, whether that be so many days of no iPad, or whether that's like reading so many books, or like doing something like going into Sunday. Like, I try and attach it to things that challenges for him to accomplish in order to get that. So it's not just purely, here you go, you just get this toy.
Yeah.
I find that works really well for us.
It was funny, like I remember vividly because my mom was part of the, I guess, drama or theater or like choir at church, and was always trying to get me in these plays, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then she bribed me with like this Decepticon toy. It was the one that was like the airplane, and
oh yeah, I had that one.
I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'll do that. And I literally put tights on. I'm singing like this little light of mine in front of the whole church for a freaking Decepticon.
Now
dude.
look at you,
yeah.
Now you love wearing tights.
Now I'm
wigs, tights, whatever we can get you to do for a commercial.
I'll just do it for shameless plugs for our sponsors.
Afterwards, she's like, what did I do?
Created a monster.
Hey, I want to hear about what you were going to say about Pam, the nonstick spray.
Oh, so I was just like, I read something, and I just realized that, like, what really is Pam, dude? Okay. It's butane. It's basically like you're spraying like lighter fluid all over your pans.
What?
Yes, and most aerosols that you have have butane in it and have a lot of these,
they definitely do, because it's
crazy, like chemicals. Just any household like aerosol thing, you're just blasting yourself with toxic chemicals.
I've never used Pam, but bodybuilders loved it. It was like no calorie.
I'm guilty.
I never thought. I was like, what?
Pam for sure.
Joke.
I'm glad this conversation came up, because it's been on my list to get this for Katrina for the longest time, because we have Pam at the house. And I used to have back in the days little you fill it up with whatever you want, pump spray, and we put olive oil in there.
And so it's a tiny spray.
And it's a tiny pump, and you just pump the olive oil for that.
Okay, so let's start at the top, Doug. Yeah. So here's the oils: canola oil, palm oil, coconut oil. We could do without the canola oil, but fine. Non-stick agent, scroll down. Soy lecithin, anti-foaming agent, okay. Dimethyl silicone prevents foaming during spraying. So that's, now you're eating that. And then other ingredients. I love it when they say that.
Other.
Propellant, a gas like propane or butane. Wow. Natural flavors, which can mean anything. Rosemary extract, wheat flour, and silicon dioxide.
Get the taste of butane out of my mouth,
dude. So you're just spraying that on your pan and then eating it.
Yeah. I'm totally guilty of that.
You use it all the
Everybody's
time?
been doing this for like
I wouldn't say all the
centuries.
time, but we definitely use it.
It's because you did bodybuilding, so that's how you learned how to use it all the time.
I'm gonna cook my
Just
stuff on
gonna
there.
change it out with.
But I like I said, I remember I used to have one of those little pump sprays, and that worked just as good. You just put olive oil in there.
Use butter, dude. That's what we do. I just put butter on everything.
It's just like you go back and examine all these things that you've been doing for decades, and you're just like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like nobody's been.
It's the convenience of it too. Like you say butter, you're right, but then it's like I get the butter out, I got slices, it frozen. Do I have soft butter already? It's just like it's versus.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Well, I mean, you're trying to cook something fast, and so Pam's right there. You just hit it one time and you're good to go. So that's why if I change it out with an olive oil spray, that to me that's just as easy. Just get it out, and then it'd be fine, and then you'd be good. So that's the move to do. I tell you, I did that with. So I bought. So Katrina loves popcorn. That's like her treat, right? Is popcorn. And I recently.
Yeah, but you stopped the microwave stuff.
Yes, I've shut that down. No more microwave popcorn. So I've been making her homemade popcorn. And so I just took it to the next level because I said, hey, could you buy some of that? I believe it's not butter spray. She's like, what? You're going to use that? I'm like, no. I just want the bottle. So I got it, poured it out, and then I melted real butter in it. And so then I could spray real butter on the popcorn because otherwise you drizzle it and then it soaks.
Some pieces
pieces are soaked in butter, then you get nothing like that. And so it's like one of the nice parts about like I can't leave it as butter spray is it like dispenses all over the popcorn. So I put real butter in the I soaked it and cleaned it all out. And
that's why they can't believe it's not butter. It is butter.
Yeah. So that's the newest thing over at our house now with the real popcorn. I got to get like an actual popcorn machine because right now I'm doing it kind of old school on just a normal
air popper.
Yeah,
air popper. Yeah, I know. I need to do that. I have just right now. I'm just doing it on the stove because I didn't have.
How often do you guys have popcorn?
Oh, she'll have it almost every night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much nightly. Yeah, we'll go on like a kick right now where it's been like 4 or 5 nights and she hasn't, but then we'll go on a kick where like 2 weeks straight every night. So yeah, it's a regular snack for our house for sure. That's hers. Mine was always ice cream. Hers is popcorn.
She's got a better snack. Hey, if you have kids and you're listening to this, you probably want them to be healthy. There's a lot of vitamins out there for kids, but they're mostly candy. Well, there's a company called Hiya Health that makes the only multivitamin for kids that we trust. It's not filled with sugar, it's not candy, and has good nutrients inside. Go check them out. Go to hiyahealth.com. That's HIYA health.com/mind pump. And on that link, you'll get 50% off your first order. All right, back to the show. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
Our first caller is Jason from Colorado.
What's up, Jason?
What's going on, Jason?
What's up?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you? How can we help you?
It's great to finally be on. I'm a huge fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's funny how much I relate to each one of you guys in a different way.
Oh, very cool. How can we help you, man?
Well, I'll jump into the question here. I'm 51 years old, and I've been working out my whole life, since high school football in the 90s. P90X, CrossFit, boot camp, Windler, 5x5, Strong Lifts, the Strong Lifts app, FitBod app, yoga, Peloton, list goes on. I've had the ability to put on a lot of muscle when lifting, but try to deny that attribute in my 30s and 40s to focus more on cardio style workouts because I love mountain sports, mountain biking, hiking, snowboarding. And over the last 8 years, I've really focused on strength and gaining muscle, and that's when I found you guys. I've done my first round of anabolic and really enjoyed it. I'm actually, since I wrote this, I'm on my second round in phase 3. All my numbers are solid: 325 bench, 400 squat, 450 deadlift. I think I could get those numbers up higher, but I work out at home alone, so it's a little nerving to do it. I want to mention that I also ride a Peloton 2 to 3 days a week during anabolic because I wanted to keep my cardio in a good place. Here's my question. Since my muscle journey over 8 years ago, 8 years ago, my weight is about 35 pounds heavier than my hardcore mountain bike years when I didn't lift as much. According to my FFMI, I'm pushing a 25. I'm 5'10", 235, 20% body fat. Don't get me wrong, I feel great, strong, etc. But 235 is kind of crazy. What should my next programming look like to get back to 205? Should I do a cut and ride the bike more? I feel like it's such a different metabolism than most people. I'm on nothing exogenous, just vitamins, creatine, hit my protein daily, but I just keep getting stronger and stronger and gaining more and more weight, it seems like. I really thought it would start burning more fat by now. Instead, I just bought another pair of 45-pound plates to lift some more for the home gym. So just kind of confused on what to do to get the weight down.
Well, you're killing it, first of all.
What's your goal? What is your goal?
He wants to be 205, lean in more.
Is it to be leaner? Is it to have more stamina? Is it to be smaller because you feel different? Health, longevity, performance? That would help with the answer.
Yeah, I mean, 51, so health, longevity, performance. I really enjoy lifting a lot, so living in Colorado, we have, I can't ride that often, so it's more snowboarding and whatnot, but it's hard to get up there as much as I like. So I spend, my mornings lifting, like 2 days a week or 3 days a week, and then throw in the Peloton there. But, I like getting up in the mountains on my days off and spending, 4 or 5 hours cruising around, either hiking or biking. And so really, to get back down a little bit and weight, you guys just had the episode a week ago about, are you too muscular? Yeah. I listened to that. I go, oh man, maybe I should pare it down a little bit. So just wondering what direction I should go. I mean, I've never really done a cut or anything like that. I think I've been bulking for 30 years. I eat intuitively. I work in the food and beverage industry, so tons of protein and I hit my protein goals, especially after listening to you guys. I'm really focused on that, but yeah, just kind of want to lean down and get to 205 without starving myself.
Yeah, okay. So that's okay. That helps a lot. What's cool about the physical attributes is they kind of act like a checks and balances to each other, right? So if you start pushing only in one direction, you'll gain lots of performance in that direction, but you'll start to compromise longevity and health a little bit, right? So if you go strength is great, but if it's only about strength, you start to lose stamina, endurance, mobility sometimes, and you can compromise health. Same thing with endurance. You can go too far in that direction. So they do help keep each other in the checks and balances when it comes to just overall health and longevity. Now you are doing Peloton, you are outside, doing the mountain sports. You said you spend a lot of time out there. If your stamina and endurance are great out there, then that's great. Now, if you want to get smaller for the improved performance you get from being smaller, which is true, it is true. Like there are some sports where size makes a difference, either in a positive or negative. Mountain sports, probably better to be a little lighter. But if you were, in football, heavier might be better, so long as your performance isn't compromised. So really, this is a diet thing. I think going in a cut, in a slow cut, would be a great strategy. I don't think you'd see huge decreases in performance. You would see some because you're in a calorie deficit, but a nice slow cut would kind of get you leaner, and I'd say get you around 15% body fat. 15% is a nice athletic body fat for most people, and then see where your body weight is around there. If it brings you down to 215 or so, 210, that's probably a good body weight.
I'll be even more specific on what I would do. I would go to MAPS 15. With the extra time that I have because I'm doing a weightlifting program that only takes 15, 20 minutes, I would add 20 minutes of lifts right after that. So I'd get my lift in, and then I do 20, 30 minutes of kind of lifts, which is just kind of steady state cardio. And then since you've always been in this perma bulk and you've never really tried to cut, I'd probably look at a couple outliers in your diet and just tighten it up a tiny bit, like just adding that extra cardio and tightening up the diet, like whatever. And you probably know obviously better than I do because we haven't known each other long enough to know, what's your thing? Do you, eat out a couple times a day or a week, or do you have, pizza and beer every once in a while? Like what are the greatest offenders that pushes you over on calories that you're aware of? Tighten that up a little bit so it puts you in a little bit of a calorie deficit with the additional movement that you can do. And the only reason why I'm going the route of all this extra cardio is because it will serve you on your pursuit of your other things that you love, right? You like doing all this outdoor physical activity that endurance and stamina will benefit you. So just tightening up the diet a tiny and not going drastic. I don't want you to cut the calories 500 or 1,000. I think you just tightening it up a little bit with that additional movement and reducing the volume of training. I think you'll keep most all your muscle, you'll increase some endurance, and you'll lean out. That's what
it'll probably look like like over time, 2 to 4 pounds a month.
Yep.
Of weight loss. So nice slow fat loss would be a nice approach.
Yeah. Now I don't know how Adam knew about the pizza and beer, but yeah, that's probably.
It just sounds like the right thing to do. Hey, it just sounds like the right thing to do after those great activity. Yeah. It's literally that. It could be that simple. You're in a really cool place, especially if you know you're probably eating a good amount of calories, which I'm assuming you are to maintain that kind of size and muscle mass and strength. So you really, you just tighten it up a little bit on the diet, and you take a program like MAPS 15, you add more cardio, like list type activity right afterwards. So kind of cruising on your Peloton bike or whatever you want. And that should do it. Like Sal said, just a nice, and then if you want to speed it up, you tighten the diet up more. So if you feel like I'm not leaning out fast enough, well, then there's room in the diet. And that's all I would mess with, because you've got those things that you know that you are probably pushing the calories on, and you've never really put yourself in a diet or a restriction. But this is a way to do it, I think, subtle and easy, and should cruise right into where you want to be.
Yeah, you shouldn't notice decreases in, you should feel better overall by doing it this way. It's a slow, gradual fat loss. You're cutting out things that are really not as healthy, really, because you're not doing this crazy cut. You're just kind of removing, like Adam said, the gross offenders. So you should just notice you feel better. You just feel better overall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, anabolic's been great. It was a good workout. I really love the periodization of it. It's a good change up, and even with my 5x5s that I was doing in the past, just learning from like Andy Gelpin and everybody else about taking those breaks longer and just getting the heavier lifts. It was fun. It's fun like getting those numbers up. But then all this, and I stayed away from the scale the whole bit. And then I jumped on the scale the other day. I'm like, oh no, like I'm way stronger, but it's I just pack on the muscle like crazy. It's just weird. I've always kind of been this way. If I quit lifting, I tend to thin down a lot, and when I lift, I just I get bulked up pretty quick.
It's a good problem to have, bro.
Yeah, the slow cut will be great then.
Yeah, that's why I went that direction. You strike me as somebody who puts on muscle relatively easy, which means you'll probably hang on. You'll preserve it really easy. It will not. And so probably the hardest thing, Jason, will be going from anabolic down to 15. You're going to feel like it's not enough. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is like way less lifting. Don't be afraid of that. I bet you keep your strength. You may even go up. So, and that's when when you hit the beautiful spot is when we barely cut any calories. We just clean the diet up a little bit, and you actually see yourself maintain or maybe even get a little stronger while you're also slowly going down. Like that means like everything is perfect as far as the calories you're taking in, the volume you're doing. Now, you could expect to get a little weaker. It's not uncommon to be in a cut, to reduce volume, and to pick up a little bit of cardio to see a little bit of strength drop off. But that's kind of our gauge of if you're pushing it too hard or not, is that you should probably maintain most of it as you go down and just nice and slow like that. And again, if you want to speed it up, then you start cutting the calories. And I just cut like 5. Then I would intentionally cut 500 calories. Like, okay, here's my day. I know what I'm doing. I'm cutting basically a meal out of my day every day. And that'll also lean you out even faster. But I think you can do it just by cleaning up some of the gross offenders.
How often are you doing like the beer and pizza thing?
Just weekends. I do a good job eating like an asshole. So on the weekends,
I
keep it clean during the week, and then I'm in the F&B business. I was a chef for 30 years, so I like cheese.
My man.
That's your thing with Justin for sure.
Yeah. I'm good at staying away from the carbs for the most part, but just weekends, it's really just that.
What's funny is if you just cut out that, you'd
already lean out.
That's it. Yeah. It would just be the weekends. Yeah. That's it.
If Jason, we're going to send MAPS 15 to you. Follow my advice for that program, and I think I'm going to give you exactly what you want. And then we can talk about how we reintroduce the pizza, beer, and things like that to keep a balance on it. But if you tighten that up for the length of that MAPS 15 program, and take the advice on the just adding a little bit of cardio after the workout, I think you're gonna see exactly what you want.
Awesome. I really had no idea what you guys were going to say. I kind of wondered, but that MAPS 15 does sound pretty cool.
Cool.
I'm excited. And I have a home gym, so I just work out in the basement.
Perfect.
Been doing it for years, so it makes it super easy to get down there and just knock it out in the morning and get about the day.
Yeah, you got it, man.
I'd love to hear back from you if you follow it. I mean, stick with it and keep us posted, and then I'd love to follow back up with you to see how it went for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real honor to be on, guys. I'm a huge fan.
Appreciate
it. I think what you guys are doing is just amazing. I think what got me super hooked was just how well you connect with women. It sounds weird to say, but I got my wife listening, and my kids now are kind of listening to what I tell them that I hear from you guys. But it's really awesome what you guys do. You really do a good job, like well rounding the whole thing.
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate
Thanks,
that, Jason. Thank you, man. We'll send that over to you.
Great, thank you.
All right, brother.
Take it easy. Yeah, he get the nail on the head with the pizza and beer. But, just that, like people don't realize it, like because that's common.
Sports and that is like
This is where
that's common. It's a common.
This is where my advice of Win the Weekend came from.
Yeah.
I could not figure out for the life of me why I couldn't break this body fat percentage for years, because I was a trainer, and I was like, I was dialed Monday through Friday. Dialed. I mean, I ate all my meals, trained.
Worked out all the time.
Yeah, everything. And it was like, I would just let Saturday, or not even both days, Saturday or Sunday, it'd be like, there'd be a day I sleep in, eat whatever the hell I wanted. But then the rest was dialed. And that was enough to just kind of cancel out what the positive I was doing during the week. And just me going, okay, flipping it on its head and saying, and what I didn't get to tell him, hopefully he listens to this, is that I even would tell myself psychologically, I can still have the pizza and beer, just not on the weekend. Weekend, I got to be perfect. If I really need my pizza and beer because I've had it, I'll have it on Monday night or Thursday. And then what ended up happening was when I would just do really well on those weekends and I would see the benefits of it, it was easy to pass up on the pizza during the week.
Really common for a consistent fitness enthusiast who also likes doing outdoor activity to do that on the weekend. And just cutting that, just so people understand the numbers, I would, with a client like that, because that's like a stereotype of a particular client. That's I think why you did it so well with hitting the nail on the head. Yep. That's like a 3 to 5% loss on body fat.
Totally,
consistently.
Easy. Easy. He'll go down to 15%.
Yep.
He will get if he just does that, and so the audience knows too. And what I would be communicating if he was my client is like, hey, I'm not telling you can't have pizza and beer ever again. This is just to show you what an impact
what it's doing.
Yeah, what it's doing, and that normally is enough, which is just like how it was for me. It was like I saw that, I went, oh my God, that I didn't realize how much that was setting me back. Then it made it really easy to pass on it, unless it was a very special occasion. It's like, do I really need the pizza and beer today? I really don't. It's not a big deal. And then over time, it would be like, okay, this is a special event, someone's birthday. Like I'm going to enjoy myself, and then I would do the things necessary to counter it. But yeah, if he follows this, I promise he'll come back leaner, just as strong, feeling way better. So let's see what happens.
Our next caller is Megan from Minnesota.
Hi, Megan. How can we help you?
How you doing, Megan?
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Same.
I'll read my question. So I need help regarding my diet. So I'm 30 years old, and I've battled my weight my entire life. I'm 5'3". At my highest weight, I was 190. I'm currently at 146. I did have one baby in between there. Recently, I did a DEXA scan that said my body fat percentage is 29%. And I've bounced back and forth between those two weights for the last 10 years or so. So obviously, I can lose the weight. For me, it's hard to lose it, and it's hard to keep it there. At this current weight, I'd like to lose another 10 or 20 pounds, but more just focus on the body fat percentage. So I'm currently around 1,700 calories. And hit my protein goal of 150 grams every day, weight lift 3 to 5 times a week. I do have a very active job. So when I punch in all this info into a macro calculator, it always tells me this is about where I need to be for my macros, weight, height, all that stuff. The problem is that I am starving all the time. Mornings I feel fine, and then it's about mid-afternoon. When I get done with work, I'm really hungry. So then all evening I'm kind of battling myself. Can I have that other snack? I'm still hungry. Should I eat more? But my macros tell me not to. then I end up some days binging, having some pretty crappy food. I'm under the BMI requirements for a GLP-1, so I would have loved to try that, but any professional I've talked to says I'm too low on the BMI. So is there another option for appetite suppressant, or do I need to try and stay consistent for longer to reduce that hunger and it'll go away, increase calories, whatnot? One other thing to add, I have used Phentermine in the past and it worked really well for me, but from what I can tell, there's not many long-term studies for using it for long. So that's why I've stopped it recently.
Yeah, I would stay away from that. Okay, so
reverse diet, dude.
I could look.
Body's asking.
I'm going to
for
give you I'll give you the X's and O's. Okay, but this isn't going to be the full story. I think there's much more to the story, or there's a much more complete answer that's going to help you. And this is based off of a couple of things that you said. Now, first off, I think you know what you're doing. I think you understand macros. I think you understand exercise. You understand activity. But there's a couple of things you said. You've battled your weight your entire life. You mentally battle yourself when you come home, and then it sometimes turns into a binge. So there's a couple reasons why people feel the term starving. There's a couple reasons why people will say they feel starving. One, their intake is too low. Okay. Two, more commonly, they have a relationship with food that has really more to do with other things. Typically, it's emotional connections, or for lack of a better term, a dysfunctional relationship with food. So you're either self-medicating with food, or you have in the past, and this is a relationship. It's a very tough one to break. And so either stress or circumstance or emotion, it's a trigger. And this is something that you've just dealt with your entire life. And fighting it is not how you win this. What we have to do is identify it and slowly go with it and take away the shame and work with what's happening and not fight it so hard. So here's a strategy that I'm going to give you. First, I think we should bump your calories a little more. And I think you should eat more at the front half of the day. So I think we need to go into the day with more calories, bump them up a little bit, go with that a bit, but then also examine what's going on with your relationship with food. And when that comes up, you got to pause for a second and go into it and feel it and write things down. Because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to avoid it, which is probably what it looks like. Oh my God, I'm starving. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. And then it hits you. It hits you and you become overcome with this behavior. Again, for lack of a better term, the behavior probably looks like fast eating. I'm a bit distracted with it. And then followed by, what have I done? Shame. Cycle begins again. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to have you, I would have you increase your calories. You're at 1,700. Let's bring them up to 1,900. Let's front load the calories a little bit. We've identified when it's the hardest, which is when you get home from work. When you get home from work, we're going to interrupt that behavior with something else. You know this happens after work. Can you create time and space for yourself after work to come home and journal for 10 minutes? Write down what you're feeling and don't ignore it. And if it's just literally one sentence, I can't stop thinking about food, and then write it again. I can't and just allow yourself to go into it and be present with that feeling. And it's going to suck, but the avoiding part is what results in the back and forth whiplash. And then the inevitable is going to happen, Megan. You're going to do what I'm telling you. You're going to succeed sometimes. You're going to fail sometimes. When the failure happens, it's not, I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? Oh my God, I can't stop this. It's okay. I knew that would happen. Let's start again. This doesn't mean I'm a bad person. This is a challenge that I have, and I'm going to try again. To get in that shame cycle, it's going to feed into this. But we have to work with what are the triggers and the behavior. Like I said, the strategy with the calories is going to help a little bit, but it's not going to solve the root cause of this. And this is going to take a little while. It's a little while of an issue because it is something you've been doing, as you said, for a long time.
So if and only if.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you talked about front loading the calories early in the day. My fear or hesitation, and this again goes back to the mental side of it, is that leaves me less at the end of the day. Yeah. Which is when I feel hungry.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but you're getting hungry and then eating like crazy. So what Sal's trying to do is trying to suppress that by giving you what you need early. Because what ends up happening is that is a that's your body responding because it hasn't had enough calories. And so then you feel that way.
It's not just that either, Megan. It's also this. That might happen. Okay, that might happen. But here's the strategy that we're going into. It's probably easier for you to know that I don't have any calories left, so I can't eat anything, than it is to say I got to eat 300 calories and that's it. And that's just now. Later on, it's going to look different. This is why sometimes fasting helps people. Not always, but sometimes it helps people because it's like, well, I have nothing. I'm not going to eat anything. So I got to deal with this feeling. So that's why I'm saying front load your calories. You know what's going to happen when you get home from work. I know what's going to happen. I expect this to happen. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to write it. I'm going to feel it. Let myself go through this. And it's going to be a struggle. And expect the struggle. Do not expect to front load your calories, have no hunger. Expect to front load your calories. You still might get hungry. But here's what happens. The fear that you're starting to feel, that you're dealing with, you're struggling with, like, oh my God, what if I do this? What if I do that? That's actually fueling some of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So it's easier to know I have really nothing left for the rest of the day. I'm just going to have to deal with this feeling than it is to be like, I got, 500 calories left. Let me eat that first and see how I feel. Because what happens is it turns into, and I know you experience this, where you'll eat where you're supposed to and the ball gets rolling. And then you can't stop it until what have I done?
There's also this possibility, because I mean, if everything Sal's saying resonates, then he's spot on, and that's awesome. But if some of what he's saying isn't resonating with you, like you don't really feel like you have that relationship with food, it's not like that. It could be as simple as, this is your body screaming to you that it needs more calories. You're lifting weights like you should be doing. You have an active job, you said, and only 1,700 calories is not enough for you to build the muscle that your body wants to build. And it could be just trying to tell you that, like, I need more calories to build this muscle. You're sending me the signal when I lift those weights, but then you're only giving me this. That's not enough. That's enough for me to maintain my weight, but it's not enough for me to put muscle on my body. And that feeling that you're getting is your body kind of screaming at you that, hey, give me some more nutrients so I can build some muscle on this body and speed this metabolism up. But you're not doing it. So it could be as simple as that. That's what's going on.
I think it's both.
Or it could be deeper, like Sal is saying, or probably more likely a combination of both.
I think there's real hunger because your calories are low and you're pretty active. But I think it's exacerbated by this lifelong relationship you have with your weight. So I think it's both. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's definitely both. I'd like to see you bump your calories to 1,900. I'd like to see you focus on your strength. Stop weighing yourself. Just focus on, and I know the fear, if I take my eyes off the scale, I'm going to go crazy. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does a little bit, that's okay. Focus, 1,900 calories, focus on getting stronger. When things feel okay at 1,900 calories, bring them up again. 2,000 calories. Go up 100 calories at a time, real small, real slow. And what probably will happen is you'll get stronger, you'll build more muscle, you'll feed yourself more, and you'll start being less afraid of food. It's not going to be so scary because, like, oh my God, I'm eating 2,300 calories. I feel good. Let me try moving up again. And so what you're doing is you're changing the relationship you have to food while simultaneously feeding your body what it needs.
So how do I know that? Okay, I know if you gain strength, you're gaining muscle. How do I know if I'm also gaining body fat, or if the body fat's going down? Do I have to keep doing these DEXA scans, or are there other signs?
You might put a little bit of body fat on. It might be necessary it's really tough to build muscle and not put a little bit of body fat on while you're doing that.
You're so hyper focused on the scale and that it's messing you up.
Yeah.
So you just take your eyes off it. Here's how you know that you're oh my God, I feel out of control in my diet. I feel out of control in my diet. Okay, we got to rein it in a little bit. But if you feel okay, you might have that little fear in your head, like, well, how do I know I'm doing okay? Because I feel good. That's how. So trust it.
Megan, have you ever considered hiring a coach to kind of take you through this process?
Yeah, I do feel like I know what I'm doing. And I know, like, I knew what you guys were going to tell me before I got here, but it was kind of like Sal has said recently, I think I probably do need someone else to tell me what to do, even though I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, coach, what a coach will do, Megan, is through this process, there's a couple things they'll do that are really good.
Offloads the stress too.
Yeah, and they're gonna forecast for you, which is so powerful, Megan. Like me telling you it's gonna be really hard, and then it's hard, you're like, oh yeah, he told me. And they're gonna be more specific as they continue to work with you. Hey, this week here's probably what you're gonna feel. Yeah. And then when you have those challenges, here's what's really powerful. You get on with your coach. Oh my God, yesterday I totally screwed up. like you're giving it to them, and they're going to tell you that's okay. It's totally fine. Okay, I feel a little better about this.
Yeah.
And that's just the surface. There's so much deeper what a good coach can do. Why don't we have one of our coaches? Here's the thing with coaches: some are good and some aren't so good. Why don't I have one of ours call you and you just ask them questions, see if it works for you? But I think if we get you started on the right track and stay consistent for a little while, I think this will be solved.
Okay, and yeah, like you said, one of my hesitations with getting a coach is I don't trust a lot of people. So like I trust your guys' opinion and I trust coaches that would work with you, but to find a Joe Schmo off the street kind of scares me because what if they are?
You're right.
No, you're
100%.
right.
That's a very, very valid fear. All right, I'll have somebody reach out to you, Megan.
That'd be great.
Yep.
You got it. Thanks for calling in. Oh, by the way, are you following any of our programs?
Oh, she's gonna get one.
So I was just doing anabolic, but I get a little bit bored. So I'm thinking of switching to Muscle Mommy. I just bought it. So
Awesome.
I'm thinking about doing that one next.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you work with one of our coaches, they'll set you up with whatever program you need.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you guys.
You got it, Megan.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, good. That's good. Good direction, Adam.
Yeah, no, I could just you could tell from your point what you said to her. She knows what she's kind of doing, right? It's not I don't understand macros. I understand. Yeah, she's doing a lot of the right things. There's obviously some, which is what I'm assuming what you saw.
Yeah.
Why you went deep emotional with food and relationship. And I just wanted to make sure that if it wasn't that, then it could be as just simple as she needs a reverse diet. But it sounds like it's both, right? It sounds like there's something going on there
Physical
that she is back.
yeah.
And this is where, even if you have all the knowledge and understanding of macros and lifting weights, having a coach who really you can trust that can take you through this process makes a world of a difference.
Listen, just this alone, okay? Because this was, I realized that for some of my clients, this was my greatest value. They could offload and offset their mistakes onto me, and I take the shame away because their trainer, who they trusted, said it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's
totally
normal.
And then they let go of that shame. Oh, Sal said it was okay.
Yeah.
I guess it is okay.
It's reassurance, dude, and people need that.
Yeah, because the shame is in a situation like this fuels this behavior, and it becomes a cycle. It's so hard to break.
For our coaches and trainers that listen to this show, this is a very important skill that you have to learn. When you have clients that mess up or on the program, this is when you,
and they all will,
where you go, don't worry about it. I got you. This is what we're going to do.
Yes.
Totally normal. Happens to my clients all the time. It's not that big of a deal. This is what we're going to do now.
And put things in context. How far are you today than you were 6 months ago?
That's right. That is so powerful to let them, because what ends up happening to most people is they do so well, and then they have this hiccup or they have this, and then they spiral out.
Oh, yeah.
It's really not that big of a deal. It's one day or it was 1 week, whatever it is. Don't worry.
And it's also a good coach knows this is going to happen.
Right.
Expect it.
Right.
Forecast it. Deal with it the right way.
Our next caller is Gabby from California.
Gabby, what's up?
How you doing, Gabby?
How can we help you?
Hello.
Hi, I have to just say first off, Gabriella. My mom will be so mad if you don't call me that instead. So, Gabriella. It's Dutch, and it has to be like that. So,
sorry, Gabriella.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. I want to say, I've been lifting for 10 years, lifting and eating for the last couple of years. So I've seen a big difference there. But my nutritionist recently asked me to think of some SMART goals for myself. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. And I'm kind of struggling to think of some things. I'm really enjoying the journey right now. I like pushing my body and feeding myself and seeing the results. But and I do have some lifts I'd like to improve. But can or should somebody really set SMART goals for their lifts? Like if I wanted to add 5 pounds to my bench press, how do I put a timeline on that? And then if I did, would I maybe be setting goals in my brain that my body kind of can't follow through with? And then am I setting myself up for injury and failure at that point? I used to be a runner, so there was a lot of SMART goals there. Everything was measurable. You want to run a marathon by this time and you want to run it that fast. That seemed a lot easier for me. Like I said, I enjoy the journey, but sometimes I feel like having those SMART goals or something like training for a marathon, it makes it a little bit easier to explain to people what you're doing and where your goals are and why you might be like missing out on, like, might not be indulging in this or that, or that you have to get your workouts in and stuff, the way you prioritize your stuff. And they're just reassuring sometimes on your journey. So what might be some SMART goals someone can set for themselves on a journey, like a health and fitness journey, and then specifically with lifts? And then what are some SMART goals you guys have for yourselves is my first question. And then I also have a question about medial tricep tendon snapping. Do you want me to ask that now?
No, let's do the first one.
And even before we do the first one, can you back up and can you give me a little backstory on why the nutritionist and like why she may be or he may be setting these goals for you currently? And I only ask that because you look like you're in incredible shape already. You don't look like somebody who needs coaching for nutrition or doesn't know what they're doing. So I'm just curious to
exactly what I was going to ask.
What led to the nutritionist and why are they trying to set these like specific goals with somebody who looks like they got a pretty good handle of nutrition?
Because I like the having a goal like I did when I was running. I kind of like the little challenges you can do with a gym or with friends. So like I just did a 60-day challenge thing, and that included a nutritionist and a couple in bodies and just a couple things that you had to get in during the day. I really like those, kind of gives you a span and an end time just to kind of something to shoot for. It's not like I need that, but I enjoy those. I think because of those kind of wanting to timeline stuff.
Yeah, so there's two things here. I get it. You enjoy having little targets, which is awesome. Yeah. You also don't need goals. And I think that's why Adam asked that, because if your nutritionist is saying, hey, you should set a goal, and you're like, well, I don't, I'm enjoying the journey. I don't really feel like I need a goal. You don't need a goal. You're doing great.
Right.
But if you like targets, if you like, these mini accomplishments, I'll give you a great one for someone like you who's fit, who looks like you've been working out for a while. One of the best goals you can have is to learn a new exercise and get good at it. So try a movement that you've never done, like a bent press, a one-arm deadlift, a windmill, a Zercher deadlift or squat, or something that you've never done before, that you've never really practiced getting good at, and then make the goal, I want to get really good at that. And then you can say, for the next 3 months, I'm going to be practicing the Turkish get-up, and I'm going to try and get really good at that. Now, the byproduct of that is
the overall strength.
Everything, fitness, mobility. It's a great accomplishment because it's performance-based. It feels really good. So I think for people like you, I think that's, because there's definitely exercises that you probably don't do all the time. You can't do all of them. So pick one, say, for the next 2 months, I'm going to get really good at this movement. Yeah. And then see what happens. I think that's a really, and that one lasts a long time. You can do that for 5 years. You can pick different exercises.
I could be, I'm going to say something you're probably not going to like. And I apologize ahead of time if I'm way off base on this, but you might be somebody who I would go the opposite direction of what you're trying to do right now. I mean, if you were a client of mine and we were talking about like how you like to, and like every time you train or you do something, you always have to have some sort of a goal or a thing you're going after in order for you to do it, I'm going to push you in the other direction. I'm actually going to, and it's because I can tell that you're already good. Like you are fit, you are healthy, you're probably really strong, like you're all the above. But if everything you do inside the gym has to be attached to some SMART goal or thing you have to be chasing, I would be really trying to push you into the opposite direction of, can we just enjoy this process? And can you think, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know enough because we haven't known each other long enough, but from this little bit of time we've been talking right now, it feels like you could be somebody like this who every time you're working out, you have to have something you're going after. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess a little bit of a chaser. Yeah.
So you're
running past.
So you're the client I would push back on this, and I'd want you to work on removing that. Mm-hmm. I would want you to.
Yeah. That can be a goal on itself.
Exactly. No, totally. 100%. So that's still a cool goal to go after, but it's like, hey, can I just start to let go of some of these things? I don't necessarily need to hit a PR. I don't need to follow these exact guidelines. And like, can I just start to intuitively eat and intuitively train? Mm-hmm. And so that would be our goal. Mine and your goal would be, because you've accomplished, I think, the fitness part of it. It's like, can I maintain this healthy, fit physique and health and intuitively do it, that would be, I think, a better goal.
Yeah, and if you journal your way through that, then it becomes somewhat tangible for you as well. So the intuitive part is great because you're listening and you're paying attention to the feedback that your body's providing. So sometimes, like, I'll come into the gym and I'm like, I really feel like, I want to do some rows. I want to work on my back. I want to do posterior work today. And it's just that it's like a craving I have for, that type of stimulus, and to, kind of journal that and see the progression of like what you're drawn towards, or like what, you're drawn towards, like nutritionally, and just kind of see how your body kind of like, ebb and flows with all this stuff, and really enjoy that process. And you can kind of tap in a little bit more to, how your body's rhythms are. So I think it's a really rad goal if you think about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just turned 40, so I think that was something I was considering too, just like in this little bit older part of life, just living the life and being okay with that, and locking it in as a lifestyle. So I think that you're right. That is a goal enough.
I mean, I appreciate that you didn't get offended. That's a hard one for me to have to tell somebody sometimes, especially over a call. Yeah. And really, I always expect like, oh boy, I'm going to say this shit and they're going to get really defensive about this. But the fact that you have the self-awareness to know that that's probably is you is a really cool sign. And that's a good goal. I think it's a really good goal for us to move in that direction. Are you already in our private forum?
I know I'm on. Is it just a Facebook page that anybody can be on?
No, it's
I'm on that.
No, we have to give you access to. It's a private forum.
Then no.
Yeah, so I'm going to have Doug send that to you and give you free access to that, so you have like direct access to us.
Awesome, thank you.
And I would love to be a part of this and support you as you go through this, because I know when I have clients that this is what we're trying to do. It's not easy. It takes steps. And you may not be the type that wants to rip the Band-Aid off and just go from no goals or no focus whatsoever right out the gates. It's like, hey, let's ease our way into that. And so if I and the guys can be there to support you through this, that would be the best way, is to get you in the forum. And then as you're going through it, if you have questions or you have things you're kind of, I like to do that. And then I'd also like Doug to send you our intuitive nutrition guide, which has very specific kind of goals and steps to get you to intuitive eating. So between that and then us kind of communicating about the lifting, I think this would be a great direction for you, especially where you're currently at in your life. You look phenomenal.
Yep.
Well, thank you. And two, as long as I can stay stronger than my teenage son, I think is a goal.
That's a good goal. I like that.
That's a great goal.
That is a great goal. Did you have a second question that we didn't answer? Yeah. I didn't see.
So I have a tendon here on the inside of my elbow that pops back and forth over it, especially during bench press, push-ups, overhead, tricep extensions. I did see a physical therapist, and he recommended isometric holds, kind of in like this, a little bit of a pull. And it is helping, but I just wondered if you guys had anything else you'd recommend, as well as like changing my grip occasionally.
Did they identify if it was the ulnar nerve or the tricep tendon itself? Did you get diagnosed with like snapping elbow syndrome?
No, I did not.
Okay. So does it get sore in your funny bone? Does it feel like you kind of get sore right in that little?
Yeah, like okay. Golfer's elbow or whatever. Yeah, just this inside part. And occasionally when I do hit it on something, it will, like if it is already tender, if I hit it on something, it will hurt.
Okay, that's your ulnar nerve. So what you want to do is really good static stretching with the forearm extenders. The forearm flexors, extenders, so static stretching.
Give her Prime Pro. Give her Prime Pro also.
Let's send her Prime Pro.
Because there's some great wrist
movements in cars, static stretching of the tricep as well should help. The next phase would be to work with, and this would be a great. I mean, if you find a really good bodywork specialist that understands good, they might label it myofascial release or whatever, and they'd work on your forearms. And they really work.
This is also a great way to lead our fitness goal right now. Like now, here's a thing that let's take care of this. Let's make that a priority going into your workouts. Now instead of us trying to chase in a PR with an exercise, it's like, hey, you've identified you've got this golfer's elbow kind of issue going on. There's some tedious type of mobility stuff that we should do every single day. But if we do a good job being consistent with it going into your workouts, you should notice this go away. And Prime Pro has the wrist, and I'd probably do some shoulder stuff with you in there. And that this would become a thing that we do every time before we work out for sure.
Little easy test too.
Okay.
If you did like a really good static stretch before you did a lift that tends to bother that area, and then go back in the lift, see how you feel. It should help.
All right. I also just had to say, so you guys have that nude to weightlifting bundle. Every time you say it, I hear nude weightlifting, and I cannot unhear it. So if you guys end up, I'm going to pass on the nude weightlifting program because I think I'm a little old for that. Sounds dangerous at my age.
That was Adam's gym idea. He wanted to open a gym like that.
Yeah, maybe your next idea. Yeah,
I think it's a banger of an idea.
Who's gonna wipe the benches down?
Yeah, that's
a lot of pinching, I think.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in, Gabrielle.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate everything you do. You guys are my favorite.
We'll see you. We'll see you in the forum.
You're killing it.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. Yeah, great call, Adam. I think I picked movement because it was away from all the other stuff, and it's kind of movement based. But yeah, you don't always have to have goals. And I think when you stay at this long enough, that becomes a hurdle. Yeah. Like, okay, now I'm at this point. Like, do I need to always have goals with fitness? Should I always?
It's like a nice introduction, I think, you know, in fitness, and people really do love tackling these real specific objective things. But like, if you're doing this for the long term, you also have to really learn how to just enjoy it and just
not have goals. All the time.
just do things because you want to do it.
It's a very common type A type of personality, right? So I mean, Sal's talked a lot about how advanced age was like his demographic. He really trained a lot of, like, I trained a lot of type A CEO goal setting type of people. And so it's pretty easy for me to identify. I hear a few things and it's like, okay, when was the last time you didn't set a goal and you still worked out? And the common things are like, they got to be signed up for a marathon. They got to have a 30, 60, 90-day challenge. They got to have a PR. They're chasing a bench, but they've always got to have a thing that they're going after in order to do it. And let me tell you, like, hey, it's not a bad place to start. Look how incredibly fit she is by doing that. So it's not a bad thing. But it's like, hey, if we're talking about the next 10 years of our life and you've already accomplished this kind of physique already and you're in a great place, this is
neurotic.
Yeah, this is the next level to that is
you have to.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely. Because if not, it'll end up leading you.
You can't always hit goals.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, that's right.
Our next caller is Molly from Kansas.
Molly, what's happening?
How you doing, Molly?
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. How can we help you?
Yeah, I know your guys' time is valuable, so I'll go ahead and read my question and get started. My question is about correctional exercises for muscle imbalances. So how many dedicated unilateral exercises and reps per week are recommended? How long should I continue to do unilateral work to try to correct the imbalance? I've been having left hip pain for almost a year. I had a DEXA scan about 3 months ago that revealed my right leg had 1.5 more pounds of muscle than my left. So I've been doing extra reps on my left leg since and did notice my hip pain to be somewhat improved. I likely won't be able to follow up with the DEXA scan within the next year. So how do I know when to stop the extra training on the deficient leg? Additionally, should I be concerned about what caused the imbalance and fear of it returning again after exercises?
So we have a program to solve this, but before I let Sal go, is that a Ronnie Coleman blanket behind you?
Yeah, lightweight.
That's
awesome. My God, that's what that is.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Lightweight, baby.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
I love it. That's so great.
So you're just doing extra work for the left leg, or are you doing like dedicated unilateral training?
We've got the program for this.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. So if I do like Bulgarian split squats, I'll do an extra set on my left leg. Leg press, extra set left leg.
So I'll give you two things. One, we have a perfect program for you. We'll send you. It's called Map Symmetry. Follow it. Done deal. You got the answer right there.
And by the way, you can follow it indefinitely until you get to your next DEXA scan.
Start with the weaker side, and you're good.
Always start with the weaker side. Now here's the general answer. Okay, so there's two ways to approach a weaker side or a side that's less developed. One approach is to do more work for it. The other approach is to do the same amount of work for it, do less work for the other side.
Yes. Yeah.
The second option is more effective.
That's way more effective.
Way more effective. So people don't like that because they're afraid of doing less work.
Yep.
But
yes,
but you'll get there faster.
And you're not gonna trust me. You
won't lose muscle.
You won't lose muscle.
No,
you won't. What you'll do is the other one will just catch up. It'll catch up faster.
So if you always did 10 sets for legs, rather than doing 12 sets for your left and 10 sets for your right, You just do 10 sets for your left and do 8 sets for your right. Way faster. You'll balance out way faster. But follow map symmetry, and that's the perfect program for you. And if you do a cycle or 2 of that a year, you'll be set. You can run it indefinitely if you want, if you like it, and you'll get great results. But to answer your question in a general way, how long do I need to work on muscle imbalances? The rest of your training, as long as you work out, forever.
New ones pop up.
That's it.
You just have to address it. So
it's always a thing. Now, your hip pain could have been caused by the muscle imbalance, or the hip pain could cause a muscle imbalance, and then they both feed into each other. It really doesn't matter, because the way to fix it is, I think unilateral training will do a good job of fixing it. If you want to get more specific with correctional exercise, that would be like MAPS Prime Pro.
I just got that. Okay. So I'm going to start that as well.
Perfect. Awesome. You have Symmetry and Prime Pro, you're done. You're done deal. You got everything you need.
I do want to add a little more detail to the advice, just because sometimes people misunderstand it or don't follow it as well. So when you do the map symmetry, the less dominant side, so your weaker side, you're always starting with that. And what I want is perfect form, and the minute you feel the form is starting to go off, that's where you shut it down. So let's say it's the exercise is Bulgarian split squats. Let's say it calls for 8 reps. You start with the weaker side, and you notice that around rep 6, you're starting to want to cheat the rep a little bit. You could still get to 8. You could squeeze out 2 more, but you already noticed the form is not perfect. You're only doing 6.
Yep.
Then the dominant side, that you could probably do 15 of those, you only do 6.
That's it.
Mirror it. Okay. And you are not going to lose muscle. I promise you.
No, you'll build muscle.
You're going to build muscle. This is the way you catch it up. Is just like that. Trust the process. It actually won't take as long as you think. If you probably through a round of symmetry, you'll notice a huge difference.
With the calorie surplus round of symmetry, you'll probably gain that muscle, that 1.5 pounds of muscle on that side.
Yes.
That's different.
Those impactful, if you go through Prime Pro and you kind of find some of those corrective exercise mobility drills, like make sure you keep pulling those in front of your workouts. So you turn those into like ritualistic kind of primers. So, you bring in that stability first. So that way, as you're going through these bilateral type movements, it's going to go ahead and respond a lot better.
Yeah. So Prime Pro is a good way to warm up, essentially.
Okay. Great. Yeah. I'm glad I got that. I was worried about kind of my deficiencies in that aspect. And so I'm looking forward to diving deep into it. I just bought it like a few days ago. So.
Awesome. And we'll send you Symmetry. Now, part of your question, do you mind if I get into detail as to why you're not doing the DEXA? I noticed you didn't say why. Okay. So you said you're going to be trying to get pregnant soon?
Yeah.
Okay. So is this your first?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you putting yourself in a calorie surplus?
Not yet. Okay. I'm trying to do research on all that and what supplements are good and bad, but I haven't decided on a surplus yet.
Yeah, surplus will make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to go. If you go in a surplus, if you're trying to get pregnant, put yourself in a little surplus, and it will dramatically, especially someone, I can tell you're lean, I can see your delts, you're fit, you work out a lot. The surplus makes I've trained so many female athletes, women who are fit. Like putting them in a surplus was like magic.
You have to. Not only that, you might actually be told to put on a little bit of body fat. That's what happened to Katrina.
Yeah.
And Katrina was like, I don't even feel like I'm that lean. And the doctor was like, we need you to go up another 1% or 2 in body fat.
Your body needs to feel safe to get pregnant.
And so in that case, trying to get pregnant, it'll only benefit you. So you should be in a surplus no matter what. And even if you see a little bit of body fat on, this is the time.
Good.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. Right now, don't worry about it. We can get that right
What's
back.
your body fat percentage at right now?
15.4.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have to.
You got to get up to close to 20.
You're gonna have to be up.
Have fun. Get
in a surplus. Have fun.
Hey, it's a great. You know what though? It's a cool time to do that. You're gonna need to move that way no matter what. Doctor will force you if you don't listen to us. They're gonna force you to anyways. So they're gonna make. So why not enjoy the process? Like, hey, let's add some calories now and let's balance this body out. Let's get strong.
You'll have a better. So here's what'll happen. You'll have a better. Even if you got pregnant at 15%, by letting your body fat go up, eating more calories, getting that surplus, you'll probably have a healthier baby. You'll have an easier pregnancy, easier delivery. Your hormones will bounce back faster. So it's so I'd say go in the surplus, go ahead and let yourself gain some body fat. It'll make it happen faster, and the whole process will happen better.
Phase,
Yep.
Okay. I'll listen to you guys. That's tough, but I'll take the advice.
You think that's tough? Just wait till you get pregnant.
You up real good. Yeah.
I know.
It gets way harder.
The challenges are ahead.
You're going to be good. You're going to be good.
Yeah, you'll be great.
You can always reach out. So reach out to us if you have any questions along the way.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Molly.
Have a great day.
You got it. Yeah, the
lightweight, baby.
Yeah, no, that was great. I saw her question. She said she's not getting DEXA scan. She didn't say why. I'm like, let's talk about this for a second, because I want to make sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because, and then we figured out she's only 15% body fat.
Listen,
100% they will tell her she needs to put on at least 2 to 3% body fat.
I can literally name right now at least 8 people I train, women who were either athletes or fitness enthusiasts who were struggling to get pregnant, put them in a surplus. 30 days later, 45, boom, pregnant. That was every single time.
That was Katrina. And Katrina did not feel, Katrina was not as lean.
It's not like she was extreme, but she's just too lean.
Yeah, that's it. That's just it. You don't even have to be that lean. You're lean in a place where it does not want to support having another kid. And so they're going to tell you to go up body fat percentage.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. Walking, it's one of the best things you can do for your health, bar none, but there's a better way to approach it. Yes, you can just walk, but if you follow the right protocol, it's far more effective. Let's talk about walking.
I can't wait to hear your walking protocol.
Well, there is. There is a protocol. So, and I'll start with the first thing, right? Because just first off, let me start with this. One of the reasons why walking is such a great form of just activity is because it's low risk of injury. Now, some